Good morning, friends. Happy Friday. Hope that you're having a great day. I was able to take off a couple of days this week, or a day this week. I get Fridays off already. And it gave me plenty of time to just kind of relax and get some of the stuff done that I need to get done for my upcoming open house card buffet. So if you're local, be sure to let me know. Just send me a private message and I can send you the address. It's from 10 until 4 on Saturday, the 31st. So hopefully I'll get to meet you. I'm looking to make some local friends and folks that like to craft. Okay, so today I am so excited to share with you the new Extraordinary Flora Bundle, which is this beautiful stamp set and dies, and then the Extraordinary Flora Washi Tape. Oh, so pretty. So this is the stamp set, and this is not 100%, so it's a little bit larger than that. And this is the matching die, so you can see how big um, the stamps actually are. So this is the way it goes. And so you're able to create your own design, which we'll use with the scrapbook page that we're going to do. But there is also this amazing washi tape. And it's perfect for whatever crafting that you're wanting to do, whether it's a really beautiful card or if it's scrapbooking or whatever you want to do. So let me just show you real quick. So there's two different ways for you to use it and die cut. You can't just try to put this on your one of your plates and die cut it. You need to put it on a surface. So this is on basic white cardstock, and this is on window sheets. So typically window sheets, they're you only get two in a package. So when you get stamp sets like the Extraordinary Flora, you're going to get a very heavy piece of plastic, which is the same as the window sheets, and then you get a lighter one. And I always save the lighter one to protect my stamps, but the heavy one you can easily use for creating additional dies. So let me just show you real quick. So I think I've got another one over here that's smaller. Nope, this is it. Okay, so typically, and you can't really see this, when you have, maybe you can, when you have stamp sets on this, it leaves marks. And I found that it just doesn't work very well for crafting. Like if you want a window shade or a shaker card, I just don't use these because they're already scratched. They have the imprint of where the stamp was. However, if you're wanting to use them for the washi tape, it's perfect. So let me just show you. And this is page 84 and 85. And then we're also, let me just share with you the scrapbook page. Okay. So this is the scrapbook page. This is one page. I'm doing a second page and I'll show you how I did it. And isn't it just so sweet? And I'm also using the pressed flowers embossing folder and then the party die bundle, which is the party banner dies and the party alphabet dies. These are huge, but they all go down to very small. The letters are very large as well, but it makes for a great title for a scrapbook page. And just look at this. I just want to show you how beautiful and sweet. When I first saw the washi tape in the catalog and on the online version, I kept looking at it, trying to figure out, that looks like it's on vellum. I swear it's on vellum because it has a real sweet, tender look to it. Whereas if it's on the cardstock, it's much brighter and bolder. And this is my favorite look, but we're going to play with this on Monday as well, and we'll make some cards out of the brighter ones. So if you're looking for the brighter, cardstock is your best. If you're looking for like a real sweet, subtle look, then you're on the window sheet is best. Okay, Let me just show you how I do it. Oh, let me share with you my scripture, because today I just, with this, this is a date night. It's the first date night that my husband and I had where we were out hiking and looking at waterfalls, which is something that we really enjoyed doing. But with his cancer surgeries and recovery, it just seemed like it took forever. I almost felt like we were housebound. Of course, the weather was really cold at the time, but it's warmed up and we finally were able to get out in April. And so, that was the thing that meant so much to me. So the Lord has done great things for us and we are filled with joy. And I just am reminded that he has done great things for us. I mean, granted, Christina's loss has been unbearable pain and it will continue to be painful, but the cancer, I think I'd shared with you a couple of weeks ago that his PSA number came back like 0.15 or something ridiculously low. So we're very comforted that the cancer is completely gone. So let's continue to pray that it stays that way. Okay, so we'll do the second page here shortly. But in the meantime, let me just show you what it looks like to add the washi tape to the... Okay, so I typically don't like to tear it because I like to keep all of the imagery intact for future use. So I'm going to carefully cut between the two because when you're die cutting, you want to leave a little room for nothing to get missed. So you can see that there are two different sets of colors. They're both pinks of some sort. I believe that, and then the thing about it, it comes up nicely, but it also can wrinkle. So if you don't want the wrinkles, you can adjust and lay it down again. Okay, so you can see that there's definitely two different sets of colors, and this is more of the strawberry slush and old olive, maybe a little garden green, whereas this is coastal cabana, fresh freesia, berry burst, a little bit of Highland heather, or maybe gorgeous grape. I'm not sure, but it's just so pretty. Okay, so this die is small enough that we can actually, what did I do with the die? Oh, there it is. That it can actually be used in the smaller of these little stamp and cut machines. Let me just cut down my window sheet because it's a little bit too wide. Okay. So now just line it up like you normally do. You probably need something to hold it in place because I find that it does like to wiggle. And I stagger these plates so that it goes through nicely. So that's the window sheet making all that noise. So don't worry. Hey, Linda. Okay. Whoops. My paper got all messed up. That was a little bit too aggressive. And I like to save every little bit of the window sheets because I find that, I'll get pieces and I want to use them. So, okay. All right, so now you can see that it's die cut it all out, and we've got all these beautiful little colors, and the window sheet was just perfect for it. But you can also put it on 3.5 inches wide cardstock as well, because that's the width of the washi tape. So pretty. Okay, so let me just pull these aside, and let's get started on this second spread. Okay, so just as a reminder, this is the first half of the spread. So you can see that I'm using these banner dies, party banner dies, and I'm using, it's a new ribbon, and it's called Faux Velvet Ribbon, and it is the prettiest little ribbon, and it's like a fresh freesia. And some of the DSP that I used to coordinate had a little bit of the fresh freesia with it, but even though it doesn't say that's one of the colors. And then, of course, I'm using the retired little pink and purple sequins, purple adhesive back sequins from Celebration, which are retired, but I just felt like they were the best. Okay. So let me make sure that I've got the correct stuff. Okay. So this is, there's another window sheet. I've got a ton of them. Okay. So this is more of the little banners, and I picked and chose which ones I wanted. And I'm using a combination of some cardstock from the Floral Impressions, and they have this really pretty subtle background. Let's see, where's the other one? There it is. So I'm using this one and this one from this set of DSP. All right. And then I am using some Pool Party as well, just because of this DSP for framing my photos. Okay, and then I need another little piece of the Pool Party for this sentiment. Let's see if I can find something that is close to what I need. Okay, let me just cut this real quick. Okay, so what I'm starting with is I'm starting with a 12 by 12 piece of designer series or the white willow designer series paper. And let me just move these out of the way and keep them somewhat coordinated. And I don't remember with what. Okay. All right, there's my photos. Okay, so the first thing I want is I want a layer of the washi tape across, just as a reminder. Yeah, I know it's hard to see because I've got so much going on, but it's about, I want to say like 3/4 of an inch away from the edge on this side. And so I'm going to do that on this side. Let me just put some little pencil marks here. And that way I have something to go by. So 3/4 of an inch. All right. So I'm going to put the washi tape. It has one direction. So you can see the direction of the flowers here. And I'm going to start down here. And then go all the way up to the top. And then I'll cut it off. And if you get bubbles or wrinkles, all you need to do is just lift it up and they'll go away. Isn't that pretty? So excited about this washi tape because I've wanted something like this forever, and it just adds such a pretty element. Now, if you wanted to go through and stamp it and color it individually to the colors that you want, you can do that with the stamp set. So you can see that the stamp is the exact same pattern as the washi tape. So you can do your own thing. You don't need to follow their colors, but I happen to love the colors, so I'm super happy about that. Okay, so the next thing I did was I got a piece of 8.5 by 8.5 of the Coastal Cabana, and then I've got a piece of 8.25 by 8.25 of the White Willow again. So let's just adhere these down, and I'm going to stamp on this. Actually, I should probably, before I stamp, I should probably, or before I adhere, I should probably stamp it. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to just use the Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to just do this print, and let me turn it the right way. I'm going to do it this way. That's easier to hold. So this is one of those where it is the super large block number 8, F. So it's the largest block that Stampin' Up! Sells. So you will need that size for this. And then, well, and then I'm going to start at the top and more or less go down the middle. And then I'm going to do it one more time. For this bottom part. Just trying to keep the same pattern, the same direction. Okay. So just really pretty, subtle pattern that just will coordinate with everything else that I'm doing. This is one of those that you pretty much want to use the sponge or your, there you go. All right. Sorry about that. I have bread that I'm making, and that is my stretch and fold notification. So I'll get to that here shortly. Okay, so next I'll start putting the pieces together. Not doing anything extraordinary on this layout. I'm letting the washi tape do all the hard work. Just lifting up some corners so I can place it. Make sure I have this going the right way. All right. I want this set in place, but I want to make sure it's in the right place. All right. And now this will be about 3/8 of an inch from the corner. So And when I try to do that, I try to get it so that there are some repeat boundaries. Let me just show you real quick. So even though things are about 3/4 of an inch over here, down here, like this is like 3/8 of an inch here, and then I'm trying to do 3/8 of an inch between my photos to kind of repeat that. It just kind of finds itself visually pleasing if you kind of try to repeat some of your measurements. And then I just make sure that all my photos are the same dimension apart. So, and we'll do that with this second one. Okay. All right, so let me just line this up with my grid so that I can make sure that I'm in the right place. So about 3/8 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch. Uh-oh. I lost, nope, it's there. Whoops, that didn't go well. Normally it just slides right out, it doesn't break. Okay. And you can see that there's just so many pretty colors, and this is primarily the color scheme that I'm keeping with for my layout. Okay, so now I've got my little journaling and then these pretty bubbles. We were at one of the parks here in downtown St. Paul that has waterfalls, and doesn't matter what I do, I find so much cat hair on all my projects. Well, I know why that's happening. It's because I can't keep them off my desk. Anyway, it was just so pretty. And then watching the kids glee as these huge bubbles. I mean, they were bigger than me. Very, very large. So anyway, so pretty. And so I just thought, you know, with all the pretty colors in this washi tape, this would be perfect for this. If you'll notice, I don't use a lot of bright colors. That tends to not be my thing. So we'll just keep this like so. So sometimes I will journal by hand, but this time I decided to journal with my computer, and then I printed out on basic white, or this time it was white willow, which means that white willow only comes in 12 by 12, which means I kind of wasted a bit of it. Okay, so now just keeping that same dimension, let's just make sure that our so there's going to be some overlap here. And what this says is date night. Before I get anything going here, I want to make sure that everything is going to fit. I think I'm going to run out of room because of the size of these banners, so I'm going to have to do more overlapping. And then I want to make sure that things are lining up. So, and then I've got more of these little washi tape die cut florals that I'm going to need. So, get my water bottle out of the way, get the stamp set box out of the way, and let's just line up the scrapbook so that we know where we're going to be. Okay. So now I can and I think covering up the trees is perfectly fine because it's primarily the bubbles that I wanted to have seen. And so let's work on actually putting these in place so that they stay. So I'm going to cover up most of the colors that I'm not wanting off to the side. And then I should probably put this one first. All right, so this one, leaving a little bit of this pretty color over here and using about 3/8 inch distance. And I will line these two up. All right. Now I can start fixing this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to use some tear and tape to hold this die cut window sheet. You can use tear and tape, and I use a mix of tear and tape and glue dots. But the tear and tape holds on to more of it. So I'm just kind of following the shape of the letter for this one. And then I'm going to pop this up. Actually, before I do that, if you noticed over here, I used the embossing folder on one of the flags and one of the letters, and I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to alternate. So I'm going to emboss here, and I want these pretty flowers to be towards the bottom of my flag. So I'm going to do it like so, or I could do it here, just so that I got a portion of it so you can see. And now I can feed it through my large embossing stamp and cut and emboss machine. And just as a reminder, these are not this one is not a 3D embossing folder, so you need plates 1, 2, and 4. If it was 3D, you would just need 1 and 4. Okay, so here's this one, and then this is the eye. And so I think most of that gets covered up. Most of that one gets covered up. So let's just do this one. And I'm going to go ahead and do the T. I think that's fine. Okay. Obviously, I have to use the big one. This embossing folder doesn't fit with the little one. All right. And now I'm going to change things around. I am going to change this one out. And this one out. Well, can't really change this one out. Phooey. Where's my N? What color is my N? I just feel like a crazy woman. It's like I have something and then I lose it. Okay, there we go. So let's try this. And then this. And then this. And then this. That way I've got embossing every other one, and I think it still works. Okay. So let's now adhere them together. And I'm just putting tear and tape along the top because I kind of want them to look like they're banners, and that means that, you know, they're a little loose. That's okay because it just kind of gives it the feeling of it. And now I'm going to pop this up. And the nice thing about these big letters is the large dimensionals work just fine. All right, and then I just bring it down a little bit. And then I'm going to use this little 1/8 inch punch, and it is part of the whole punch assortment. So it has like a slot with a little bigger slot for like a tag, or it has this 1/8 inch hole. So let me just mark where I want my holes. That way I'm not guessing. Okay, and so I'm going to need about this much because I have a bit of dangly that goes to the other side along with a bow. And so I'm going to thread it like so. I guess I could have done it over the top, but let's keep it consistent. All right, and now I can line up my pages, and I can put some large dimensionals on the back of this. And let's just put it in place as we go, and that way it's not going to be doing a lot of wiggling. And I know how much space I have left. Okay, so these are lined up. Top and bottom. And I don't want the dimensional actually on the photo. There we go. Okay, so date night. So let's work on this one. And I was going to use one of these long ones for the eye, and then one of these little flowers on top. So this is perfect for some of this tear and tape. And then I'll use a glue dot. So the glue dots, I have to kind of fight with them a little bit with these window sheets, but okay. So once again, I can use these bigger dimensionals for my letter. And this is not in the center. Let's try it again. And it's going to hang off a little bit, but that's okay. Not all of them can be big and grand. Okay. Trying to keep this straight as much as I can. And then just thread it through. It helps if you cut it at an angle. So you can see I have a little bit of an angle there. And then I am going to need to overlap these just a little bit so that I can get my last flag here. So this one's a lot more scrunched up than this other page. Okay, so keeping that in mind, I'm going to place this flag a little closer and let it just kind of be behind a smidge. And then because it's heading up here, then I'm just going to angle each letter. Okay, so now let's work on the G. It's so pretty. Okay, so let's put this one at the top so you can still see that it's a G. I just love this. I don't know, it just makes me so happy. I just think this washi tape is amazing. What plans do you guys have for Memorial Day? I'm going to go see my dad's burial location. So I want to kind of check out the headstone that the VA, oops, that's not good. So they didn't have everything ready when I had my dad's service, or they did the honors for him. So they let me know where it was located. This one's going to be a little bit harder, and I may have to peel it up in order to punch that little hole. Yeah, it's giving me a hard time. So I am going to go visit him. It's probably going to be crowded, but hopefully I will find a place to park. But other than that, it's going to be me getting ready for my open house. This will be my first open house event and my first ever card buffet. Never done it. I have a local friend that she does that each month, and it was a great way, I thought, to introduce myself to the neighbors and get to know some new people in the area, make some friends. Church has definitely helped with that more than anything else. Just starting to get to know people. But the problem with the church is that it's people from all over the place. So I'm trying to get to know more people that live locally. Okay, so this one, there we go. All right, now for my H. Do I want a little bit more on my G? It's so pretty. And I love how it curves around. I do want to add a little bit more. Might as well dress up. Because I think that's what I had originally planned. Something like that. There we go. This is fit for a party. Okay, so this time I was going to use some of these roses. And this goes here. Let's see if I've got anything else here. I've got roses and daisies and okay, so I think that's what I'll do. Had to think about it for a minute. So I'm going to add just 2 bunches of roses, little rosebuds. They're not quite the color that I want, but you know, it's close enough. So and then this little flower I'm going to do with a glue dot. And then this little bit of greenery I'll do with a glue dot as well because it's so small. And I'll just tuck it right in here. There, isn't that pretty? All right. I think this is going to need 5 for all of its little legs, the H legs. And before I adhere it, I should probably set it aside, put these together, punch the holes. Lesson learned. All right. All right, now we can add the H. And let's get the ribbon on. I love making pretty scrapbook pages. And this one is just got to be my favorite. So it looks like we still have enough room for the T. So now I can pop the dimensional backing off, tuck it under just a smidge, and then now we can decorate the T. So I was going to use this, but because I embossed it, I'd like to use there should be some little ones. Here we go. All right. Little trio of flowers on top of this T. And then a little piece of tear and tape. And I have kitties clawing at the door, which means I'm going to have more old carpet ripped up. Okay. Last one. All right. Just a few more dimensionals. And make sure that it's within the page boundaries. All right. Well, it needs to go up a little bit. And then what I do here is I am creating a bow. Let's see. I think what I need to do is just cut off a little bit and then tie a bow here rather than try to tie a bow at this point. I did my bow first last time. Let me just get it turned around. And don't quite have enough so let me just create a bow over here. That'll get wrapped around. Only problem with one-sided ribbon is it's a little harder to make sure that both your bows are velvet side out. All right. Okay, so now another blue dot or two. And yes, these will get smushed in the scrapbook. All right, and let me get all this stuff away, kind of see where I am with things. And all I need are some more embellishments in the middle. So this is where I use dimensionals instead of, because I want them to be a little 3D. And make sure I don't cover up any of my lettering. Cover up this red flower. Maybe that's what I should do here. That way I keep the thing fairly consistent. And these are so pretty. Okay, so the last thing now are the embellishments. And all right, 2, 4, 6, 7. I can put one in the middle of one of these flowers. And then one more. And we have 9. All right, what do you think? So date night. It's really pretty. Oh my goodness. Very happy with this. A little more flourishy than my husband would hope for a date night, but you know, a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. So hopefully you enjoyed just learning a little bit more about the washi tape and the Extraordinary Floral Bundle. The Extraordinary Washi Tape is not part of the bundle, so it's a separate purchase. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. And then the party dies are these banners, the party banners and the party alphabet. So they all work just perfectly together and make such a great combo. And then of course a little embossing on the letters. It's just precious. Okay. All right, friends, have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Day. And if you have a loved one that served or you've lost, you know, be sure to take some time to remember them. All right. Have a great weekend and we'll talk soon.